Okay, right, so lesson 10, and we're going to prepare more now to compare poems. Yesterday, or on our last lesson, we were kind of looking at building on the work we did on the polar bear and the elephant, kind of getting some basic skills. And in our last lesson, I brought in the second poem, the Anthem for Doomed Youth text, which you answered some questions on. And now today, it's about bringing that poem alongside the soldier. So we got the side by side comparison happening. So we're actually going to compare war poems today. And I've got the terminology on the screen here as well to remind you just that wherever possible to kind of use terminology. It really does enhance your answers if you can do that accurately. Now, the two poems are here side by side on the screen. Now, I think this is a really useful screen to kind of pause on and look at because it does enable you to have both poems side by side really easily. Some of the things that if you look at the title of this poem, "The Soldier," um, who is that about? Is it about what is this poem about? Who is it about? And then if you compare that to Anthem for Doomed Youth, um, who is this poem about? And how do they compare? Are they the same person or same people, or are they different people? Or how does the language possibly show a different? If they are the same person, how does the language show a different attitude or feeling about those people? So it's the titles are really quite good to compare. Who is the soldier, and how does that title link to the poem? How is the Anthem for Doomed Youth? What does that mean? And how does it link to the rest of the poem? Opening lines are really important. So, how does the opening line of this poem in The Soldier, and what's the effect of it? If I should die, think only this of me. So, what is the idea that this poem is opening with? What theme or topic is being started in that first line? And then when you look at the first line of Anthem for Doomed Youth, uh, what is the first line here kind of starting off? What kind of idea is being uh, kind of uh, started and begun in this first line? You know, again, is the tone similar in these two first lines, or is the kind of the tone different? Is the idea the same, but the attitude towards it different? That's kind of where we need to be thinking in terms of comparison. Um, the poem "The Soldier," if you notice, has this kind of idea that there's going to be where the soldier dies, a sense of it's always going to be England. It's part of a foreign country that will be forever England because that's where this English soldier has died. Now, that's the idea of the soldier, that concept of dying in battle and the place where you die being kind of improved um, with the English soldier's body. We look at Anthem for Doomed Youth. What's the big idea in this poem? You know, it is about death, but is it in the same kind of tone as the soldier's idea about death? You know, we've got words like monstrous anger. Okay, um, we have the word demented. Okay, the word wailing and the word sad. So in terms of the ideas about death and the ideas of soldiers dying in battle, I think it's clear to see that the soldier has got one idea and one attitude, and Anthem from Doomed Youth has got a very different attitude to the idea of dying in battle. As you kind of go through the poem, there's obviously the ending points as well. If we look at how they finish, the last line of the soldier is in hearts at peace under an English heaven. It's a very tranquil, not not happy but positive ending. The idea that the soldiers are at peace and they are dreaming, or they've gone to an English heaven. The idea that they are in this blissful condition. Uh, it's not good that they've died, but it makes their sacrifice seem worth it. Where if you look at the end of Anthem for Doomed Youth, each slow dusk a drawing down of blinds, it kind of has a very kind of depressing ending, a kind of sad, melancholy kind of conclusion that every day it's just the feeling of sadness just doesn't go away. And the idea of drawing down the blinds, closing out the light, closing the windows at dusk, got that kind of image of death that the soldiers have gone through. So both poems obviously end, but they have very different tones and attitudes at the end of their poems. You probably also noticed that the length of the poems looks very similar, and they're actually exactly the same length. They're both 14 lines long, and we should know what that means. When a poem is 14 lines long, it is going to be a sonnet. Now, again, the way that the page is being displayed here, you can see that both poems have an octet of 8 lines, and then a sestet of 6 lines to the end. Okay, so in terms of form, these poems are identical. They both are sonnets, and they both follow the octet and sestet pattern. So form-wise, they're identical. When you actually dig into the sonnet themselves, there is a subtle of differences. So the rhyme pattern, for example, in The Soldier goes A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, G, E, F, G. So that's the pattern of The Soldier. In Anthem of Doomed Youth, we have A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D. So the octets are identical. And the sestet for Anthem for Doomed Youth goes E, F, F, E, G, G. So the sestets are different, and it's worth thinking about what is the effect of having in these two poems the different ending patterns. In particular, Anthem for Doomed Youth ends with a couplet, okay, and a couplet ending creates a kind of extra emphasis on it feeling finished. So a couplet has like an extra level of completeness about it. So why does Wilfred Owen, do you think, want to end with this couplet? Why does he want to create the effect of it being finished and it being final? Whereas The Soldier has a much kind of peaceful ending where it draws out. It's not like a sudden or kind of definite ending of kind of a couplet. It kind of just slowly reaches its final line and final word. So think about the different features and how they create different effects. With all that in mind, you can now start to think about filling in your comparison grid. Now, this is just for display purposes. You don't have to make your comparison look like this, but it's a good way to kind of make sure you're thinking about the same things. So you've got your area for comparison here on this column, and then obviously you would fill in information about each poem in the boxes. Now, you might find that you don't have or can't think of anything to put in all the boxes, and that's absolutely fine. There might be more here than you need. Try and complete at least 4 sections though. Try and get 4 things of both poems sorted out, because that's going to give you the best preparation for this actual piece of comparison. So I would like you to upload today to Google Classroom your completed or partially completed comparison tables, so I can see that you are thinking and comparing step by step at this point in our kind of learning. Okay, right? Take care with that, and I look forward to seeing what you've got.